country, and I want to say they are the favorite to win that game now as well, according to the Vegas odds. That is a 2:30 game. So we've got Michigan, 12th ranked Michigan against 7th ranked Michigan State at 2:30, and 10th ranked Alabama against 9th ranked Texas A&M at 2:30. Those 2:30 games, phenomenal. As far as the 11 o'clock game, that one I'd recommend. 17 Iowa versus 20 Northwestern. Now getting to the 6 o'clock game, holy moly, we got 6th ranked LSU, some people's number one, against 8th ranked Florida, who lost, I believe, their starting quarterback for a year due to some stuff. We'll try and discuss more on that maybe next week since we're running out of time. But that's going to be a phenomenal game. We've also got 5th ranked Clemson taking on BC. That should be snoozer. TCU, 3rd ranked, taking on Iowa State, snoozer. Then we've got recently big time fallen from grace, USC Trojans, who just a week or two ago were ranked inside the top 20. Now they are unranked, just falling horribly. They will be playing number 14 ranked Notre Dame. Side note for USC, their head coach, Steve Sarkisian, who we've talked about multiple times on this show with his run-ins via being drunk and stuff this year, has been fired and found out on his way to a treatment facility, according to him. But he has been fired. Hopefully he is able to get the attention and treatment and care that he needs to get his life right. If not for himself, for his loved ones. But so that's all we'll say about USC and Steve Sarkisian. Happy trails and best of luck. USC Trojans no longer have Steve Sarkisian as their head football coach. Then we've got a Big Ten game at 7 o'clock where number 1 ranked Ohio State hosts Penn State. Typical Ohio State fashion, will probably be close and a little ugly for a while, and then they'll pull away eventually. Potential upset alert, great game here. At 9 p.m., we've got the 4th ranked Utah Utes hosting the Arizona State Devils, or Sun Devils. Highly recommend that game if you're watching that late. Other notable games throughout the day, we've got Purdue at Wisconsin at 11 o'clock. We've got, boy, is there anything else? Nebraska, Minnesota, 2:30. Obviously, Golden Gophers. And like I said, that's one of the two that they should still have a fairly decent chance of winning yet. And then the only other notable one that I want to point out here, other than, fallen Oregon versus Washington, fallen Arizona versus Colorado, fallen Georgia versus Missouri, would be the South Carolina Gamecocks hosting Vanderbilt. And the reason I bring that up is because the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, formerly of Florida fame, formerly coach of the Washington Redskins in the NFL, he had been coaching USC, and he just abruptly and immediately this week, following last week's game, and I assume loss by USC, he announced that he's done, effective immediately. He's retired. It wasn't out of anger or anything like that. It seemed like it was just the type of deal where he knew he was checked out and felt it would be a disservice to just go through the motions the rest of the season and things like that. And it's, being a college football coach is a tricky business. Like, there's no good time. There really is no good time to walk away other than like winning the last game of the season, winning a championship, and then I'm going, I guess. But and college football coaches, they got it tough as far as coaches go in the sports world. But so wanted to mention that retirement of the old ball coach, head coach Steve Spurrier. South Carolina will be operating with an interim coach, as will the USC Trojans, for the near immediate and foreseeable future. So there is your list of that. There's your college football. I mean, man, I'm getting more and more into college football every week. Maybe you are too. Let me know. But all right, we are over the 2-hour mark, which means we are in balls overtime, as we're trying to keep this to a 2-hour show, which I am also going to start naming as of this week. So anytime we go over the 2-hour mark, which we are right now, so we're going to be wrapping it up here real soon, but we are officially in the midst of balls overflow at the moment. So let us get in what we need to get in yet. Far as WWE, Hell in a Cell coming up Sunday, October 24th. Ratings plummeting to new lows, lowest ratings of Raw since '97. Blah blah blah. Storylines are kind of weak. Lana and Rusev announced their real life engagement, which gave a big middle finger to, WWE storytelling, creative, kayfabe, just the industry in general, because they were using them as a former couple who, were with new people now, and that's how they were being used on the show. And then they, tweet a real life thing and kind of force them. Like I said, it was a big middle finger to the industry. So that was interesting. And then New Day continues to just be amazing every week. So there's your WWE talk. NHL, Wild are 2-0. They take on the Arizona Coyotes in Arizona tomorrow night. Coyotes are supposed to stink, but mark my words, they are not going to stink as bad as everyone thinks they will this year. They're not going to be a playoff team, I don't think. But they will not be one of the 3 worst teams in hockey this year, possibly. Even though on my prediction last week, because I stayed true to my hockey source expert who knows more on it than I do, I did have them finishing in the bottom 3 of the NHL. But anyway, so on paper, it's a game that the Wild should be able to go out and win fairly easily. What I am most looking for in tomorrow night's game via the Wild is the performance of Devin Dubnyk and the defense. I am not concerned with the offense, with the power play, with the scoring. So in our first 2 games where we have struggled in general is in defense and in penalty kill. Last year our penalty kill was phenomenal. In just 2 short games this year, our penalty kill has been less than impressive. So that's all I'm really looking for out of the Wild at this point, and a win. Because again, this is just a franchise and a team that you need to take those supposed to be gimmies and easy ones when they present themselves. So look for the Wild to hopefully win and do fairly handedly, so long as the Coyotes score 2 goals or less, regardless of the outcome. I will be pleased with that performance from your Minnesota Wild. All right, so there's your hockey quickie. All right, so we did a WWE quickie. We got an NHL quickie. Soccer quickie. Men's team played a friendly game against Costa Rica the other day, lost 1-0. They're not supposed to lose these games. They do anyway. They got something coming up in November that they're playing in. Whatever. Soccer, I'm not too big into it. But, this just in, breaking news. United States men's soccer, not that good. All right, there's your soccer quickie. Now, the last one on the table would be a NASCAR quickie. Last week, God, who the heck was it in the winner's circle? Was it a Busch or was it Kenseth? Man, I can't remember. But the chase for the cup is getting down there. It's actually fairly good. I want to say Joey Logano had a decent performance last week too. A lot of wrecks last week, I want to say, in the race. But anyway, we're nearing the eliminator round. There are only, I want to say, 1 or 2 more races yet till we get to the eliminator round, which is the final, 2 to 4 races or whatever for the championship. It's fairly competitive. There's a lot of big names: Martin Truex Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick. So many big names. Ryan Newman, who who I wish was Randy Newman. Because then, just because Randy Newman is kind of funny, talk like this when he's singing. Anyway, look up NASCAR for yourself. I'm running out of time, but like I said, we're trying to keep up. We are getting down there. A few people have clinched their spots for the eliminator round, and a few people have been eliminated from contention. So you're just gonna have to use this thing called the internet, and find out more details on that if you're a big NASCAR fan. Sorry I ran out of time this week. All right, well, we are out of time, so that means let's talk one more topic. We close the show, as we do every week, with our balls deep thought of the day. We try to expand on some topic, any topic that we discussed on the show tonight, and just have a question, a deep thought, retrospective meditation, and reflect on it, and have we learned anything, and how can we challenge ourselves to learn more, things like that. Okay, so for this week's balls deep thought of the day, I wanted to touch on coaching, because as I mentioned a couple times in the show, we had all-time great, legendary college football coach just abruptly retire, beginning of this week, after last week's loss. And not because he was upset or anything crazy happened. That's just, I'm done, and this is how I thought I should go out, and not drag the season out, not make a big announcement, just, no, I'm done, see ya, and then you've got Steve Sarkisian, USC coach, who has a winning record, was doing good things on the field with the football team, when he wasn't doing things to himself with the bottle, apparently. Going to treatment for substance abuse, primarily alcohol issues. At least that's the report. Has been fired. There was a report that he was drunk during game on the sideline sometime in September. Haven't confirmed that yet, but that's startling. But so anyway, we were talking about coaches in the show, and it got me to thinking. For our balls deep thought of the day, here it is. What is the most difficult, the most challenging head coaching position in all of sports? All of sports, including college, and breaking it down to specific areas. Is it college basketball? Is it men's college basketball? Is it college football? Is it pro football? Is it managing a baseball team? Head coach of a hockey team? Head coach of a basketball team? Head coach of a soccer team? Head coach of a high school hockey team? Who in... Well, let's keep it to at least professional or semi-professional. Let's not incorporate amateur athletics, okay? Outside of sanctioned NCAA stuff, because let's face it, those are semi-pro athletes and teams and events, not fully amateur. But so let's keep it to college and professional. Who has the toughest coaching gig in the entire sports world? And it might be a prisoner of the moment overreaction response, but in retrospect, in deep thought, I believe it is in fact a college football coach. Now, I like the idea of it being a college coach of any sport anyway, because of the recruiting element that comes along with that job. Insane, the demands and the challenges and expectations and just uncertainties. College recruiting has got to be, it's insanity. It's just crazy tough. You can't comprehend it unless you're in the fire, in some capacity, firsthand. So throw that in with the